What is up, lads, and welcome to another episode of the PES Universe podcast. I'm joined by Weza FC, who, I mean, he looks a bit angry there, so I'm gonna just have to be a bit careful around him tonight. And of course, beside me, it is the main man himself, all the way from Florida, over in the States. An Englishman living in the States. He's made it his home now, I'm going to say. He's made it his home. He started calling football soccer and, you know, pretty much all that stuff.
Heathen
yeah,
is what
you know, he's turned into one of those. But it is Ricky, a.k.a. the True Brits. But, I mean, lads, we're going to jump straight into it because obviously there's a lot to dissect. We haven't been on a podcast for, I think we've been 2 weeks now, Wes, by the time this will go live. So we were waiting for Gamescom. We were waiting for the big bombs, plural, to drop. And here we are yet again with another mixed bag, I think. So, I mean, we're gonna cover over. I mean, anyone that follows PES or eFootball is gonna know what was, you know, kind of like unveiled or revealed at Gamescom. But I'm gonna open it up with Ricky. I mean, I know you've done a couple of videos. You've gone into some really good breakdowns of what was revealed, what wasn't shown. More importantly, I suppose. But we are gonna cover the main topic tonight of Gamescom. Our thoughts now, when we're probably a month before launch of the new eFootball title, or in around that, maybe 5 weeks. So, I mean, Ricky, I'm just gonna jump straight into you because I mean, I might have to rein Wes in a minute because he looks like he's gonna explode.
I want to get an over-under going on how many swear words may or may not be dropped.
Yeah, we'll have to have the swear jar. But Ricky, I mean, first thoughts, honest thoughts. I mean, I know you're going to be repeating yourself a bit, but just sum up how you felt about the Gamescom trailer for anyone that is listening to the podcast that mightn't have seen one of your videos.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's better from I don't know if you guys obviously saw the first one that was released, when was it, July? Maybe? I think it was July. So I thought, yeah, it was better, but it was still... I just wanted to see gameplay, but we saw snippets of gameplay, but we didn't actually see any like actual sort of like 1v1. You know, the color scheme's one thing, because that was straight away, it was just like, what are you trying to do here? You know, just blind us with this blue, crazy, ugly font, which, you know, fine. I've had a few people come in my videos and it's like, it's just, actually someone said it's just a color, we can mod it. It's like, how does that work? It's on console, mate. You're not going to be able to mod anything on console. The color's there. That's it. It's finished. So, yeah, it was, actually, if I'm being, let me just actually, I should probably bring up some points because I've honestly forgotten half the stuff from
This is the preparation.
Yeah,
folks.
this is the professional podcast that you're used to, lads. Come on, this is it. One take podcast straight in.
Anyway, yeah, it was. How did it even start?
It was the Star Wars-esque scrolling text down the page, showing all of the clips that you were then going to see further on in the trailer anyway.
No voiceover.
No, yeah, you know.
Yellow text on green
start,
grass and
yeah. So it look, if we're going, so there were parts of the trailer I liked the look of. I actually thought graphically in parts, like when Ronaldo was in the tunnel and they were showing snippets of you know, in the locker room, that graphically looked good. But yeah, I still feel like the trailer didn't really do it a whole lot of justice. Once again, I'm not gonna touch point on gameplay because I haven't played it. I mean, none of us have played it since we played the online stability thing. So yeah, it was an improvement. You could tell that the likes of Whedon's still, you know, they're missing that, you know, Whedon's touch that was just made the trailers so much more, you know, engaging. I just don't think it did a lot to really like catch our attention as like a brand new game. You've got to put something in that trailer that just kind of blows you away. And it never really did that for me. It was, I was expecting more. I probably said, like I said, I wanted to see actual physical gameplay, but we didn't get it. So, yeah, it was better than the first one, but still not quite like, I'd say up to the level of what, like FIFA is just, you know, it's different.
It's in a different league.
So it is. The marketing has just not worked well for Konami this year. I know it's a free-to-play game, so technically they've got nothing to lose in that regard. We're all going to try it, and we're not putting any money in towards it. But, yeah, for me, better than the first, but not quite, you know, good enough. And I'm sure Weza will tear it apart.
There he goes.
Where do we begin?
I'm settling in. I need a drink. I hope this is vodka.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you guys want to take 10 and just let me run. No, I listen. There's for me, there was deliberately a reason why we didn't do this podcast straight after the reveal, and the reason kind of for that is that you can get so many emotional takes on stuff where you can kind of be very reactive to the first time you've seen it, and you go, "Oh my god, this has happened. This is not right. This is terrible. This is that." Instead, we took the approach, I would like to say, Barry, where we've left it a couple of days, we've let it dissipate a little bit, and we kind of made some more rational looks at it. Now, with that being said, those more rational looks, for me, are the same emotional takes that I took when I first saw the trailer. You know, you have the Star Wars text, you have yellow text versus green, where basically you're straining your eyes at some points trying to read the thing.
Yeah.
You then have the myriad of just mistakes that were made in the trailer. You've got the fact that they've left some of the software taking stuff in the top left-hand corner of some of the clips. You've got the fact that some of the AI movement looks awful in transition. You know, the Sule to Ansu Fati pass. You see Sule then take 3 or 4 steps once that ball's gone, so that Ansu Fati can kind of take it round him. It looks as though the AI looks a bit just gone. Like and you know, I said to Barry pre-podcast, and I say this kind of out there. This isn't, you know, this is eFootball now. This is it. This is. There's no point saying that, oh well, we're still going to call it PES. It's not a PES game anymore. It isn't. It's eFootball. That's it. Because PES for me is consigned to history books now because of the direction they're going in. You look at all of the terribleness that they've done in that trailer, and it's like as Ricky alluded to. Yeah, it's slightly better than the last one because yes, graphically in places it looks improved, but it looks better in the same sense of that you would look at the toilet and go, well, look at the good job that my arse did the last time. That's how bad it looks, because it's kind of there, and you're there trying to entice new players and fan bases. Again, I always take it to my focus group, which is my group of friends who play FIFA, who don't really touch eFootball. And I put that trailer into them, and they went, that's seriously the trailer? And I'm like, yep, that's what they've given us. And they're like, what? It looks so slow. It looks so basic. It looks, and I'm like, oh yeah, it does look basic. It looks as though, you know, they've hired a graduate student who's trying to get their name out there, and they've just gone, have a go at a trailer, and you know, or it's like a fan competition where they've got, the best entry gets it. Like, but even then, if you had the fan trailer, Whedon's would make one, and it'd be amazing. Yeah. But that's by the by. It just feels like they have just kind of taken anything that could have been resembling a football game and have just kind of just completely chucked it into the bin. You know, the one line that really stuck with me, alongside even the sharp kick, which is going to be available in an update. Why, Konami, and I'm going to put this question out there, and I hope somebody slips into my DMs, and I hope somebody answers this to me. Why are you putting stuff in a trailer that is not confirmed to be in the game at launch? Oh, we're going to add DLC. We're going to add the road. You know, we've got the roadmap, and we've got things coming, and you're going to have the free-to-play game, but that's actually going to be a demo, and actually it's just 9 teams. But then you're going to have sharp kick and elements of the game, which are then going to be added by a future update. You know, I saw the gags on social media. It was like, oh, you'll pay an extra €10 to input headers. You know, you'll see all of these other weird things that will come down the pipe. But the one line that really, really stuck in my craw, for me being a passionate fan of the series, is the very last line of the trailer, which is, it's going to evolve with the community. At what point have they ever involved the community since PS3 gen? At what point have they sat there and gone, do you know what, we'll get you guys involved? Because at every point that people have talked about white benching, they've talked about the AI, they've talked about all the different things that can possibly be improved. At no point has any one of those jumps been made on any games of the series. We're still getting kickoff goals, it's 2021. We're still getting lazy AI in 2021. We're still getting lack of content in 2021. We're still getting unstable servers in 2021. When are you going to listen? Because at the moment, who's there to tell them? Like, there is nobody there. There is no community person. There's no outreach. I can't go to somebody and go, by the way, can you give this list of feedback into somebody? I have no one. I can't give feedback even if I wanted to. So the fact that they're then going to sit there and say, this is going to evolve with the community, and excuse my language when I say this, is complete and utter bullshit. It's absolutely terrible. And the fact that they're saying, well, this game's been 2 years in the making. On what? On an Atari? What have you been making it on? Like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you playing at? And this is meant to be, but it's free to play. We're going to give it a pass. No, it's not. You've taken the game series that was a AAA game made by a AAA company, and now you're making a free-to-play game that feels like it's made by an indie dev company at this point. That's how I'm feeling about this trailer. Like, granted, even if there was the tiniest bits of positives, they're overwhelmingly overshadowed by all of the negatives that go with it.
In the podcast.
That's it. But that's it. I don't know. And as I said in the previous podcast, if they gave me something to praise, cool. I'd be on here going, do you know what? Awesome. Like the points that Ricky made about some of the graphical, it looks very good in places. But then you've got times where it's like, you've got players levitating. Let's not mention the social media post that they had to delete because there was a linesman in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
It took them however many hours to remove that. And that's a fake image. You have people trying to come out and defend it. Stop trying to defend these people. This is where you need to hold people to account that this stuff isn't good enough. This is it. This is where you're at now. You're getting into this zone of people where they're going, we're just going to defend it because we're going to hold on to these memories that we've got. This is a brand new game series, if it's to be believed from the press releases and everything. It's a brand new game series. Treat it as such. It's a brand new series. If you had this from a brand new game that launched, which I'm sure we're going to go on to with the likes of UFL and goals, if they came out in the morning and had a linesman in the centre of the pitch, they'd be laughed out the building.
No, they definitely... Right, okay, I disagree with you in some parts. I do agree with you. I don't think anyone could defend the trailer, right? That's the first thing. And me and you, we obviously, over WhatsApp and stuff, like group chats, whatever. Like, I think there's a very fine line between criticizing what's not good enough and then having a different opinion on what we don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like what Ricky is saying there, that them things to me, like the linesman and stuff like that, them things wouldn't infuriate me. And maybe that's because maybe it should. Maybe it should infuriate me as much as it's infuriating you. It's just oversight of they can never just smash it. Never just come out with a class trailer and whatever and just say right, that was really, really cool, get everyone talking, brilliant. Maybe drop a Castolo tease at the end of a trailer or the legend returns or something. They don't think along those lines, you know what I mean? So for us to for me, where I'm at with it is that I watched a lot of people's reactions over the last few weeks last few days, as we've said, Wes, we kind of deliberately said, right, give it a few days to breed and germinate and see what people think. Not that it would impact my opinion, but just to see, let's just see what the community are thinking. And I do kind of agree with you that the trailer for selling the game and marketing the game was atrocious. I don't think any, you know what I mean? I don't think anyone could say that from an actual, forget that it was a PES or eFootball or football game, as a trailer showcasing something, it just wasn't good enough. And all of us have dabbled with content creation and everything to different degrees. And that's very basic stuff that you don't put, yellow text on a green pitch, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And showcasing the game when there's, glaring errors there of clipping and stuff. You want to showcase the game at its best, even if there is issues, that's just marketing 101 kind of. But where I disagree with you, Wes, is that I do think that I think this is such a different launch for Konami now, that everything we're holding against them for a PES, let's just say that they hadn't gone this direction. Let's just say we were looking at PES 2022 coming out, Fox Engine, it was going to have a new mode or new features or new Master League built from the ground up, whatever, right? Say forget about Unreal Engine. Yeah. I think a lot of people would have been happy with that, right? And a lot of people would say that's all I want. If you go on Twitter and you look, a lot of people would say, I just wanted a proper Master League and a proper this and a proper that. But unfortunately for us and guys that have played PES for a long time, that's no longer what PES is. You know what I mean? PES is now a mobile, like, it's so big, you know, it's one of the biggest games on mobile. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
You know, I think I was looking the other day, like, that, like, Candy Crush has like 1 billion downloads. I mean, PES is nearly half of that. So, like, when you think about that, PES is a niche community. We always talk about PES as a niche community for a niche game. Like, the mobile version of that is like, that doesn't apply to the mobile version. You know what I mean?
I totally get that. Like, I've mentioned it before. Like, the audience that you'll have on a, you know, in terms of physical sales for a game on console is completely dwarfed by what you can get on mobile. I think it's some of what they normally, when I see their campaigns, it's like, oh, we're celebrating 400 million downloads. It's crazy. And absolutely, you would cater to that audience because you're going to get more of an income out of that audience. My issue with the kind of the some of the points in the trailer was that you just got that sense of, oh, well, you know, it's coming in a future update. Oh, we're going to showcase this now. And it's like, yeah, but what about the game we're getting here? Like, what about, you know, the fact that it was called a deep dive? Like, you had 7 minutes of a trailer. You had no narration. You had us reading subtitles rather than actually
the trailer
hearing
missed
somebody
completely.
talk us through it.
Definitely.
You know, it's a disaster class. It really is. And it comes from a part, yes, it comes from a part with me where I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I'm a fan of the series. I want it to be as good as it can. And much like what you've said, you know, the audience for eFootball is very much a different audience for PES. It is there's no getting away from the way that this is being marketed now and the way that the game is moving, at least how it is appearing to be moving versus the games of the past. Like, you can't compare how a PES 5 or a PES 6 was versus what eFootball is going to be. Like, you can't. They're going to be very much chalk. They're very much going to be chalk and cheese. Like, for me, do I want to sit there and look at a free game and go, actually, do you know what? I don't even want to download that. Like, that shouldn't be it. And my problem isn't necessarily that how it looks to me. It's how it looks to the outside. It's how it looks to the people who are outside of the community.
Yeah.
These trailers, as Ricky said, you're meant to be pulling in new people. You're meant to be pulling in the casual people who are watching Super Sunday and halfway through seeing Ronaldo score his first goal for United on his comeback. You'll see their eFootball that's around the pitch. You go, oh, bloody hell, what's that one there? Bang, I'll have a look at that. And then you go onto the trailer and you go onto the promotional images and you see what you see. Like, that's where it gets it stuck in my craw. It's not necessarily that I am disappointed in it, because as PES fans, we have become used to stuff falling below the par. It's, but like, you knew people coming in. That's where the issue lies.
I'd argue as well, right? That like when you were saying about community, obviously we have a community. You know, PES Universe is a big community, and like we're we have, we've given feedback, we've worked on feedback throughout the years, and I do think that, like, sometimes when we're talking, it can kind of be like, if somebody is just coming onto the PES scene, they mightn't have the same access. The same as what we had when we started 10-15 years ago, when I started writing, content for PES. Like, it takes a while to build up that relationship where you're able to actually know what's going on and what the plan is and stuff. I think where Konami fall down is that they don't relay any of that information out. So, like, some people are questioning, was this, like, I see it on Twitter the whole time, was this game being developed for 6 or 7 months as like a next gen PS5, Xbox Series X only? Something happened during COVID, or something happened where they couldn't get the game out and then they changed direction. Like, that's not true, but like, there's still people thinking that that's the case, that it's like, well, where is the messy teaser trailer? And I'd argue as well, like what you were saying, is that, like, and I'll bring Ricky in there as well, because what I would say about the trailer and stuff, Wes, is that, like, we've had some pretty unbelievable PES trailers, I would say, over the last couple of years, like, where I've really enjoyed, I think the PES 16 one was a really good trailer. There was some really good trailers, and like, some of the PES games over the last couple of years have got really high ratings. They've reviewed very well. Like, word of mouth has been really good on them. And then 3 months, 4 months down, we're back into this cycle of, people that stream the game are fed up with it. People that are coming over are just seen as casuals that don't really have a say because they haven't played PES, before, and they're like, oh, well, I'm playing PES for 20 years. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of,
I can't stand that.
Yeah, there's a lot of gatekeeping, and that's what I'm saying is like, for Ricky, and I think Ricky made a good point, just to bring you back in, Ricky. Like, do you think in the grand scheme of things, like, you said there that you thought the trailer was better, like the second trailer was better, right? Slightly.
Marginal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a disclaimer, but like, do you think that like the trailer in the grand scheme of things, like, does it really matter that it was that bad? Like, I'm saying in terms of what the game is going to be when it comes out. Like, do you think people are just kind of not able to separate? There's a big difference, I think, personally, from being able to showcase a game and actually what a game feels like when you're playing it. And I know we've heard the same thing over years and years and years. Oh, you have to play it, you have to try it yourself and feel it. But do you agree with that, Ricky, or do you think that, like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you can honestly, yeah. If the gameplay somehow blows you away, then a trailer's irrelevant. I mean, I don't. It's a trailer. It's going to give you a tease of what you're going to get. So yeah, I don't think anyone, honestly, to be fair, they probably got more talk about the trailer when it's been horrendous than a good trailer. So they're still getting some sort of publicity out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just the way they went about it. Is actually, what I did today? I did watch the PES 14 trailer again, and it was the Celtic against. It had Celtic in it, and it was no wording. The sound from the crowd was immense. I mean, they had the Champions League license back then, obviously, so it was different. It was like a 3 minute, such a good trailer, just cutscene from cutscene, transition effects were there. It just worked. And obviously, yeah, they've lost that this year. And ultimately, yeah, I don't think a trailer is going to change anyone's mind if you sit down and you just play it. So, for me, yeah, a trailer is a trailer, but if the gameplay's somehow good, I don't think it's going to. From what I've played, I don't think it's going to be that different from what we played, in July or June. So, yeah, for me, it doesn't matter. But I've been going on about it now for months. So the levels have depleted. Every week.
Yeah, but that's what it's gonna do to people. It's gonna take the people who are already disgruntled with the series and drive them further into a hole. And then to your onlookers who are on the outside, will just go, "What the hell's this?" Like, and granted, as you've said, Ray, and a point that I think was kind of lost on, is a point that we've all made through previous iterations of PES and etc. Is that we always used to go, if the gameplay's good, it doesn't matter about anything else, which is absolutely spot on. We always used to say about, well, you know what, we can always fix it with an option file, we can always fix it with patches and mods and all the rest of it. So long as the core gameplay is good, nuts to everything else, which is absolutely true. PS2 era, they had very few licenses, if any, at some stages, and it was the best game around. Like, it was. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's just the case now of what this is going to fall into. And, if it comes out and the gameplay is superb, it eliminates anything or any criticism that anybody's going to have had with the trailer. There's going to be a lot of people who will probably go like, do you know what? The trailer was awful, but this game's amazing. Like, that's the way that it will go. It'll be like, do you know what? You can roast their marketing team, and as Ricky said, you can roast the trailer, you can roast all this stuff, but we can't comment on gameplay until we physically have it in hand.
But saying that though, generally, if a company puts out a trailer, and it generally what your work, the work you produce is the outcome of what you do. So if you see a crap trailer, generally that game comes out and you're like, it's not great anyway. The thing with Konami, and I feel like they've lost their way. Like you said, all this adding post-launch, just making stuff up just to keep things relevant instead of just putting a trailer out with stuff you're going to get day one. Then put out something else saying this is what's coming post-launch. Stop like trying to gel things together. I don't care what's coming post-launch because I'm not playing it day one.
Yeah.
So
or if the game isn't ready in the first place with those key fundamentals in it, don't try and release the game earlier than what it's ready. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not being funny, but like it's essentially driven shots, right? Or it's like driven passes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I would say playing a football game, it's a pretty key thing. If you're looking to try and extend the play, if you're looking trying to pass it out to the wing, and you're trying to stretch the play, it's a pretty fundamental thing to have in the game. So why is it then coming in the future update? It just doesn't. It's very much the same line of when they put in team building mode to be confirmed. It's from that playbook. You put that in the roadmap, and then you put sharp kick in a future update in a gameplay trailer where you're saying it's a deep dive. And the fact that, like I said, the fact that it's 7 minutes and it's called a deep dive, and we're having to just read subtitles, and we're not.
Not great subtitles.
Well, we're just not. No, but it's almost like it's a magician misdirection. It's you focus on the subtitles at the bottom because you can't see what's going on at the top, and because there's nobody to listen to. You've got to read that at the bottom. Then you've got to okay, but I've got to pause that. I've got to rewind it, and then I've got to go watch what's happening up here instead. It's just very it's haphazard. Now I hope and I pray to every footballing video game god that is out there, that this game comes out and it smacks it out of the park, and it just turns around and it's like, yeah, our trailers were awful, but this game is absolutely amazing. I hope that it does it. I hope I have to come onto this podcast and apologise. I hope I do, but I have no hope. I have no hope here. It's a really sad time to be an eFootball fan.
No, I think it will. I think the biggest problem is that I think if you go through the life cycle of every title, like every year, like there's been such a mixed bag of gameplay experiences, and like Ricky, you probably know this the most because you do reviews with the data packs and you deep dive into what's changed, because Konami always come out and just say gameplay adjustments, and they could have changed the collision system that it makes a huge difference to the gameplay. And you mightn't see it for the first few hours after a patch, but like to the casual player that just picks it up, they don't know any different really, you know what I mean? Because they're just picking the game up at that stage. Maybe at Christmas they might get it and they're like, oh, we're 3 patches in, this game feels good. Like, it didn't feel good for the last 3 months because we were playing a different game. Do you know, that kind of way? So like, if you look at the game and how it develops throughout the year, like even with PES 2020, like that is that's such a different game. Even though our PES 21 now with the latest data pack is so different to when PES 2020 when that launched. You know what I mean? So like I went back and was looking at some old videos that I'd recorded, just raw footage, and like it looks like a completely different game. You know what I mean? Like not to maybe the naked eye, but when you look at the animations and stuff, like there's a load of different animations now than there was back then. Like they've added stuff in patches that they just don't go in and like explain, you know what I mean? So it's strange, but then the thing for me is that I just think that there's a big separation between like what they're doing and what they're actually able to explain what they're doing, you know what I mean? And we can only take what information is out there. There's no point us forever saying, yeah, but by Christmas it'll be amazing, or by Christmas all these features will be in. It's like you have to judge the game on what's out at the moment. Like you wouldn't go into the cinema and watch a movie and the lights go on after 20 minutes. Right, lads, fuck off out now. We have to get we have to add more bits to the movie. Like it's just not the way it works. Like so.
Yeah, it'd be like judging the original Justice League, but then not watching the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Going, well, it's a poor movie, and you're like, well, actually, if you watch that one that was brought out a couple of years, that's actually really good, and it's like, oh, okay, like it's that initial entry point that's my worry. It's not necessarily. It's not necessarily for the seasoned players that I have an issue. Like I have a kind of a nervousness for.
Yeah.
It's the casual players. This is kind of the way I'm looking at it, because I've kind of been that kind of withdrawn body for 12 months and have been out in the wilderness playing other games, is that you then get a different outlook on it, because you go, well, wait a minute, this is what my pals who are now going to start playing like, for example, if I took it into my workplace and went, by the way, here's the eFootball trailer, and they'll probably just look at me and go, what? Like it's that entry point. It's like, how do you get people past the trailer to go, actually, that's the kind of the kicker that we've got. Like in previous years, you'd have Beckham pop up in a trailer.
Yeah.
That was the clincher for, was it 2016? No, sorry, 2018. 2018.
Yeah, or 17 or 18, yeah.
Yeah. So but he was the clincher because then he turns up at the end of the trailer and bam, he goes and pulls out his pose and everyone's gasped because it's Beckham. He's in Pez. Oh my god, this is class. There's not been any of that this year. Instead, we've got we've got Andre Iniesta and Gerard Piqué on board as gameplay advisors, and I'm like, they're back again. Yeah, exactly. We've had them before, and there isn't anything to. People talk about but there's the hype train. It's like there isn't.
There isn't at the moment.
They haven't
Definitely
even built the train station, let alone got the hype train out. It's not there, and it's just.
I think the game.
The casuals.
I think even though I'm going to contradict myself now and be taken out of context if somebody doesn't watch the full podcast, but I do think that Konami are taking this to heart of this is going to be a continuous game development. You know what I mean? And that's going to have pros and cons, because before, and I know this from years of being involved in the community, especially with edit mode, when they removed edit mode from PES 14 and to get that back into PES games, the actual edit mode of being able to import stuff and that, that was a very late inclusion. You know what I mean? It wasn't. And I think that's what they're going to be doing with this game now, is that if this was any other year, we'd have to have seen Master League. No matter how good or how bad it was, we'd have to have seen it, right? Because the game will be coming out in 2 or 3 weeks' time. We'd have to see gameplay. We wouldn't be, having to look at footage of a gameplay trailer and be like, is that mobile, or is that on PS5? Is that on, PC development build, why is there shadows on the players here, why is there not here, why does the colors look like this on we just have one base version of the game, and then that we've had for the last couple of years, and they might have been able to go in and do a good trailer, but I think now they're taking that it's we no longer have the constraints of having a 9-month development process, and they're going to drip feed information out whenever they want to drip feed it, because they'll be like, well, we don't have to sign off on putting this out at a specific date because we're not going gold specifically. Yeah. You know what I mean? They can just pull something back at the last second and be like, yeah, it's not ready yet. The game is free to play, and we'll add it in a future update if it's not ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is fine if it's aesthetics, if it's data pack stuff, if it's we've got new sets of boots, or we've got new sets of we've got additional stadiums that we've just acquired the licensing for. Fine, that's fine. But stuff that could be fundamental to the game, i.e. sharp kick and other things that could still be we're going to find out that they're going to be added. They could turn around tomorrow and do a trailer and go, by the way, teammate press is going to be in the game. But that's going to be in a future update. Those things are fundamental to the actual playing of the game. If it's your aesthetics of it, if it's, like I said, stadiums, kits, face packs, etc., I can understand that as a development cycle. I can understand that that's coming in a future update, but not fundamentals to the actual game.
But if you look at Fortnite then, Wes, if you look at Fortnite, and I know you play a lot of Fortnite, I don't play much, but even Warzone, they've added gameplay mechanics throughout the core, throughout the game, you know what I'm saying? They've added things that if I played Fortnite now, having not played it in 3 years, when I'd go back to that game now, it would be a different game to me, because it'd be the same. And that's what I think the penny hasn't dropped for a lot of people. I'm not saying it hasn't dropped for us, but I think anyone listening tonight, I don't think the penny has dropped for people when they're thinking about PES as it's so there's no PES 22 or eFootball, whatever they're calling it, there's no Master League, and it's I'm not getting that, it's only all my club. I don't think that they understand that this is basically a Fortnite model for PES, with a name change and a complete brand. And I know we don't have do I like that direction? No. Would I have liked a brand new, next gen 3-year developed Master League to sink my teeth in and be able to watch Ricky with some beastly videos? Yeah, I would. But this is what we have now. And I think when you look at it that way, that you see Fortnite adding Will Smith and LeBron James and all that. Yeah, that's aesthetic stuff. But they've also added gameplay mechanic stuff that completely reinvent how you play the game. Same with Warzone. I mean, every month or two, they'll change guns, they'll balance the guns, they'll balance vehicles, they'll balance all the weapons, they'll balance movement and all that sort of stuff. And you're kind of thinking to yourself, fuck, this gun was, so good before. Now I need to relearn how to use a brand new gun, or it has different recoil. And like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I just think we're still all thinking about this as is PES is a write-off because there's no Master League, it's going to be all online, and it's like, well, in 3 years' time, we're still going to be talking about eFootball. Like, there's going to be no PES 23, there's going to be no PES 24. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I don't know, is that a bit of a cop-out on my behalf? But that's how I'm looking at it now, where I'm thinking this is like a continuous, like 5-6 year plan that they have, that they're going to, like, you know, I mean, we saw the interview the other day, and I don't know, I'll ask Ricky about this. I mean, you know, the developers are talking about adding Master League to mobile and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, how don't they know that already? If Master League is meant to be coming, I don't know, you would assume within the next 9 to 12 months at the latest, and it's like you're still discussing whether it's going to be on mobile. And you can, like, to me that sounds good in a way. Like, you know, I'm on the train or I'm on the bus or I'm in the airport and I'm able to get out and do my transfers, go back to my PS5 a few days later and have all the transfers done and play your games and whatever. But I mean, like, what do you think of that, Ricky? I mean, that it just seems to be viewed now as a continuous, like, developed game rather than 9-month development process. Like, has that kind of, like, have you, from your viewers and guys that watch your channel, like, do you think that they kind of understand that and accept that now, or do you still think that they're thinking about it as like PES 22?
No, I think everyone now knows it's eFootball. I mean, look, everyone's going to say, like, I've had so many comments, I'm not touching this game. You are. It's free, mate. You're going to download it. You're going to play it. So you can say you're not going to touch it. You are going to try it out. But I honestly think, eFootball is going to be like PES 14 when it first launched. We could come back in 2-3 years' time and go, wow, this game has really evolved. Once Unreal, was it the 5 engines are out, right? I don't think.
February 22.
So I don't know. I don't think it's out. So
it's not out yet, no.
Right. So once the transition, I'm guessing they can just update from 4 to 5. Then they've got to do whatever they do. It could be really promising. Like, in the long scheme of things, yes, this could be worth it. But it's initially how they've started the cycle of this new series. It's not been impressive. You know, it's not been a good start just from running off what we've played and the trailers. But in the long run, this could work out. But I don't like the controls from what I've seen, removing certain things. I know a lot of people say, well, now you can't just hold down a button and the teammate. But I don't play that way. When I'm playing PES, I use the teammate press to, he goes for the challenge. I control the players behind him and I can keep the shape. If you remove that button, then to me, the AI has to be really, really well programmed.
Yeah.
To the point that they're going to do all that work for me. I can't control 11 players. No one can. You control one player. So, the controls are a little bit concerning for me, but, you know, I'll play it. But I do think overall, we're going to have to give this, plenty of years to see what direction are Konami going to go. They only know, but then again, do they really know? Because like you said, they ask them a question, they don't even know the outcome. Is it coming to mobile? It might be. I mean, you guys should know, surely.
Yeah, I mean, and the same kind of criticism that I love at players who say, "Oh, well, I've played FIFA for 10 hours, so I know how it plays." The same thing is going to have to be leveled at eFootball players. You are not going to know whether this game is good or bad within the first 10 hours of playing it. You're going to need weeks, months of playing it to know whether it's going to be good or not. That you're gonna, we've said this before about keeping the same type of energy. You've got to keep the same energy that you would criticizing, you'd criticize FIFA or eFootball, whichever one is your preference. You've got to keep the same energy for criticizing your own game. So in the sense of, if you're going to give one a shot, you've got to give the other a shot. So as much as I am sitting here bad-mouthing, the trailer looks terrible, I didn't like the beta, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, I've still got to go in with a very open mind and go, actually, let's download this game, let's see how it goes, let's keep playing it for a couple of months, and then you can make your choice as to whether it is actually for you or not. Like that's where we're at as a whole. It's not just, it's in the bin. You've got to be, okay, well, let me actually try this out and see whether it is for me. Because for all we know, if the online AI and the offline AI are absolutely insane and they do all of that work for you, your 1v1 skillers that you see all around Twitch, your players that you see who love to execute skill moves and take people on and make people look foolish, they'll absolutely relish this type of game because it'll be one-on-one and it'll be, okay, I've got to take you on and I've got a skill move or I've got to do something to take it past you. you're gonna have to give it breathing room. So as much as I am going, I'm not confident. At the same time, I'm not gonna lampoon it day one and be like, that's it, it's deleted off, that's it, job done. It's like I'm gonna have to give it a couple months to see if it does vibe with me. That's what we've all got to do here. Like, as much as we we're going to criticize it, we've got to keep that energy.
Yeah, because I always go back to the PES 18 beta. That was the beta that like universally everyone loved, but yet universally asked to change. Like, people don't realize the feedback that went back for that changed the game, and that's when things started to kind of like develop in a different way. Because what was happening was, you were going on playing the beta and you were defending and you were playing PES as PES 16, 17, 15, all the way that you'd always played. Stop the passing lanes. That's how you play PES now. PES is like that at the moment. The good players, you press with 3 or 4 players and you have, complete domination of the player when you're able to do that and get on top and just turn him over in possession all the time. Very direct play. I mean, I know Ricky doesn't play like that. He's a purist, he's the Jurgen Klopp of the PES world, but like you are the Pep, but like you have to like I always go back to that with PES 18, and a lot of the feedback that I saw that went back was it's too hard. I'm conceding 5 goals a game. It's like, they need to improve the defending, and what they did was literally make the defending automatic for an end result. And like, we see a similar thing now at the moment that like you literally just have to hold square in My Club 5-star and that's it. You can leave the pad down early if you're a good enough player and you've got an 101 rated Beckenbauer or 99 rated Piao or whoever you have. Whereas with this beta, like, I think people are going to have to play the game for what it is and not be expecting it to be PES. And then if they do that, they're either going like, we all have different tastes. I mean, I'm sure there's movies or food that you guys like that I don't like or whatever, or music. Like, I mean, Wes is an Aston Villa fan, so that says enough about him. But like, we all have different tastes. I personally can't understand. Like, we're all in our 30s. Like, are we going to sit there and play a game that we don't enjoy out of some sort of like loyalty of being involved in a community? I mean, like, I don't think we would, but nobody should. Like, everyone should choose their time wisely and spend their time wisely. Try FIFA, try NBA 2K, try WWE when it comes out. Try PES, try eFootball. FIFA. Yeah, and if it's not for you, Ricky, it's you didn't like FIFA.
I tried streaming it last week. Honestly, I think FIFA's AI is. I was going to swear. I won't swear. But it's horrendous.
The auto blocks are vile. The auto blocking on that game is absolutely vile.
But there's no movement. I started the match and it was like all the players are standing there. I'm like, it makes PES generally look really good, like offline. Online's different, but offline it's like
offline's good. Like
FIFA is crap for me. But I tried it. I still like to try it because FIFA's presentation on a whole is just another it's another level.
There's a lot of having to drag players back when you it's like a lot of it is like dragging. From my own experience, it's dragging midfielders back because the midfielders don't track back. Shout out to Matt Tennell and Brian who constantly talk about midfielders not dropping back on video games.
Yeah, but they've come out and said this year like that's a deliberate development choice because they want more goals.
They want more goals.
So like, you have to accept, that's the thing, you have to accept FIFA for what it is, and once you're able to get on board with that, it's like going in and watching a Fast and the Furious movie. It's like it's like going in and being like, oh, the acting was so, like, I thought this was going to be an Oscar winning acting performance by Vin Diesel. It's like, no, you're going in to watch cars fly, basically.
I've always likened FIFA to it's that part in the original Space Jam where Michael Jordan gets right to the end and then he realizes that he can stretch. So then Daffy Duck gets stretched and it's like, this is Looney Tunes land. Anything can happen here. It's like, oh, now you tell me. That's literally how it's felt for the last 12 months of playing FIFA. Is seeing people do ridiculous skill moves and game-breaking goals. Like, oh, so that's how you're meant to score. Oh, right. Okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah, but that's it. Once you get on board with the mechanics of the game, it's like any game. Like, as you said, Wes, you sit down and you say, right, so this is how you play. This is the meta. And then I enjoy playing the meta. Like, like, me and you can play FIFA the exact same way. We have the exact same tools at our disposal. Your reaction speed might be better than mine. Your finishing might be better. You're better at the game than me. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that, like, you were born out of the womb being better at FIFA than me. Like, you're just playing the game. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you're getting used to the mechanics and stuff. It's the same way with Ricky. I mean, like, I've seen some of your rage videos with my club, Ricky. Like, you're one of the best possession players of PES, where it's actually enjoyable to watch you play PES the way you play it offline. But like, you would get slaughtered in my club in 5-star. You know what I mean? Because you don't play the way it's meant to be played. Which is funny for us watching, of course.
Maybe eFootball might be better then if they're making it real, like, skill. You know, you can't just press a button and defend. Maybe, you know, online will be better. You know, who knows? But
well, they'll have to bring back either or. I think they'll have to bring back, like, as in, they will bring back, in my opinion. They'll either have to bring back the right stick switching,
that doesn't make sense.
Or they'll have to bring that back, like, or else the press.
And they'll either probably have to bring back right stick switching and then right stick triggering the runs. As well.
I reckon they will.
I think
the runs I miss. Yeah.
I think teammate press may, as a controversial one, it might be, if the AI is great, it might be something that.
Yeah, well, the PES 18 beta had a very minimal press, as far as I remember, didn't it?
Yeah.
And if you held it, the players just came out like. It was manual, kind of like.
Yeah.
It's the 2-3 press that's stupid. I mean, that's too much.
Yeah, because like, I do think the R stick was a very weird omission from the beta, that like you couldn't, because it was so like, you know, like you were pressing the button and it's like, no, not him, the other guy. Like, I want the other guy, and it's like, oh god, like, you know. Like, I presume they'll have to add that.
The way FIFA's doing it looks pretty cool. You know, you can now press L1 and you can like press an icon and it will switch to that player.
Same as NBA.
It's the old NBA one.
Yeah, the NBA style, but that way at least you're not going to get pissed off because it keeps changing the wrong player. You just do it and it's done. You know.
I didn't mean that one. I meant a triangle.
Yeah, NBA does it when you're passing as well. That you press R1 and then the button comes up over the player's head. And then you throw exactly where you want to throw. Like, you know, it's really well thought out, but then you only have 5 players really on the court, so, you know. But it could be done, I suppose, if you just targeted 5 random players. But yeah, no, I do think that, like, all the criticism is definitely warranted, you know, and then some, because, like, you know, we are PES fans at the end of the day, and it is sad to see PES like kind of go, but at the same time, we don't know if why it's going is going to be an improvement, do you know, that kind of way. Like, if this was a thing where it was like, oh, forget PES, you know, forget that game, like, that's old news. This is, look how good this looks, but it's just been
if we all had a crystal ball and we could all see 12 months into the future, and we see eFootball's winning awards left, right, and centre, it's heralded as the greatest football game ever, we'd all sit there and be like, yeah, great, awesome. Now we can all sit back and go, do you know what? Wait 12 months, it's going to be the greatest game ever.
Yeah.
For the 2 games that I brought up earlier, and I need to bring this up as a point. I need to, because I know it's burning a hole in my chest. Right? You've got UFL, who have put out a very nice, very glossy gameplay trailer, which is basically cinematic, right? And these lot are getting praise for doing absolutely F all. They've done nothing. They've literally put out a trailer, and everyone's like, bravo, give them the flowers, give them the trophies. Do you know what? This is amazing. The same with Goals. Goals have got like a Twitter account where they're like, Goals is even less. Goals
are still hiring for it.
Goals is a mission statement. It's not even a game. Like, it's like, this is what we want to do. It's like, okay, great. I want to marry Scarlett Johansson, but it's not going to happen. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I've got a number for you, Wes.
I've come to terms with this. Like, you know,
she's a subscriber on YouTube.
But like, you're getting people who are like praising these games, which is great. Fine, if you're going to back them, great, fine. Come to me when there's a game. Come to me when there's gameplay, and I'll get on that train with you. By the way, I happily will. Until that time comes, though, what have they got to offer us that's any different than the trailers that we've seen from FIFA, that we've seen from eFootball? They've got
it's a funny one.
Else to offer us.
I mean, I've seen the same people on Twitter. Like, complain about PES not showing, you know, like, not showing anything apart. Like, even though PES has showed gameplay, the trailers have been atrocious. Like, at least they've actually shown gameplay, and it's like, well, you know, like it or lump it, at least you have something to judge and talk about. I mean, like, they've showed a CGI trailer and, you know, a walkthrough of their offices, and it's like, oh, this game is going to be unreal. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, you could literally say that about any game. You know, like, it's funny. Like, do I have high hopes for it? Yeah, I mean, like, Ricky, would that be something that would, like, because there's going to be no offline mode in that from what they've released. Like, it's just going to be online, one mode, like Ultimate Team. Like, would that be something that wouldn't... You're going to still be playing your modded PES 2021 in like 10 years' time.
I'm like 55 years old. I know. It's actually I did do a kind of video earlier about it. Just stating about the 4 different games and saying that those games are strictly pretty much going to be online only, but it's kind of the way the world's gone gaming wise. You know, like there's very few offline games now that really are offline, or offline only is different, but they're gonna focus more online than offline because that's where they make the money. I'd still try them. I mean, I'm all for having new companies coming in, trying something different. It seems like they want to do a more sim approach from what they've stated. I mean, like you said, it's a lot of talk. We don't know. We haven't seen anything. You can big up whatever you want. But I also think it's Konami's track record, and that's why Konami don't have a good track record. You know, everything they put out has always been a little bit like, well, you've lied to us a few times. And then you've also got the debate where FIFA players don't like PES, so they slack on it, and PES don't like FIFA, and they do the same. But yeah, I'll try them. I'll give them a shot. Online or not, I don't know. I just have to think where my channel is going to go. I think at this point, it's I'll definitely be doing a FIFA 20.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do a career mode, no doubt. The whole creator club, as long as I can find some sliders, that's going to make it terrible. No, I've watched videos, and I know people have been putting out beta videos when you shouldn't. I mean, it says don't put any. They still do it. I was like, all right. But the gameplay, it's still FIFA at the end of the day. Unless they change their engine, it's still going to have the same mechanics. I saw an AI versus AI match. It looked dreadful. I mean, it just looked like on Legendary, they were just going ding, 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 like back and forth. Like I don't really know what EA watch when they program their AI, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with this point, but somewhere. But yeah, I'll try online. I'll give it a bash. And we'll see.
Yeah,
how it goes.
The thing is, where they're going with it is like the same as every game. Like, who wants to sit down and play 5 or 6 games of a Master League with like no goals scored or conceded? You know what I mean? And be like, oh, I really enjoyed them 5 draws, Jose Mourinho style, parking the bus. Like, you always want to score a top in, banger, or you want to like do a crazy dribble, or that's just what you're playing games for. Like, it's not real life,
Yeah,
no, exactly.
The whole point is that you then get your clip and go, do you know what? I'll send it to the boys in the WhatsApp
group,
or I'll whack it onto Facebook, or I'll whack it onto Twitter, or I'll whack it onto Instagram, and then like everyone else can see and be like, oh, this is amazing, like, wow, well done, like that again. We talk about it constantly about it being a social experience. We are in a world now where it's far more social than anything that there ever has been before.
Yeah,
like we're not in the mid 2000s where Twitter is a twinkle in somebody's eye, and Facebook is only just getting off the ground, and all of these other bits, and MySpace is still a thing. Like we're very, very far down the track here, where it's completely different. Everything is digital. Everything is a footprint. I can go and score a goal on FIFA and have it uploaded to Twitter within seconds.
Yeah, it's instant now.
It's accessibility, and it's that way of doing things. I just think that maybe these games companies need to catch up a bit. I mean, I know you mentioned WWE, like briefly, like very tenuously, but that you can see the differences in how they felt about their audience. They realized they massively ballsed up 2020, decided not to bat out 2021, and they then changed what looks like to be their title, so it now comes out in March next year.
Yeah,
which it's given them far more time to run it off. And they put a trailer out for SummerSlam, and I think people raised eyebrows at the fact that it's coming out in 2022. Like, but fair play to them. They're giving themselves as much time as they want to be able to put the game out. So fair plays to them.
Yeah.
But maybe that's where we're going to look to eFootball and go, well, actually in March, once everything is out, or once everything's been out for a couple of months and we've all had to have a look at it, we might all be looking at it going, well, actually, this game is actually really good. We just don't know yet.
That's the thing.
It's that peril of not knowing that everyone just sits there and goes, don't know. It's a bit dicey. It's like, because no one knows. No one knows at this point. There's not been any hands-on gameplay of it because E3 wasn't a thing Gamescom was just the trailer. There
Digital,
hasn't been any physical ways of playing it apart from the online performance test.
Yeah.
So
And
I
the
think
thing,
that's
and
where
then
a lot
like
of
if
people are
you
judging that from.
look at like as well, like what is also strange, but it's like it's just something that we don't really think about. If you look at something like Cyberpunk that came out, I mean, Cyberpunk, like, we're basically showing off the game in its best possible state, like that was nowhere near what launched.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they did the opposite.
PS4 compared to the PC was just different.
I mean, whereas Konami are just saying like, hold my beer, we're gonna show you this game running on mobile. You know what I mean? We don't give we don't care. Like we're gonna show
you what technology we've used
Yeah.
to capture the footage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's just a complete like, and that's one other thing as well that like I think that's, you have to be very careful, because it's easy to show a CGI trailer and then, like at least with Halo, when Halo came out, people were like, oh, it looks terrible, it looks this and it looks that, and it's like, yeah, but it's running in 120 frames per second, it's 4K. Yeah, okay, the visuals aren't up there with like The Last of Us 2 or Red Dead Redemption 2 or any of them, but like there's going to be 64 people on the screen like fighting online, like it's like there's a lot more going on than just like one person walking through the wilderness, like. So yeah, I do think like Konami need to like sell their game more, but then at the same time I'm glad that they're not just showing like like ultra settings on the PC and then you get it on your phone and you're like, what is this like?
The saving grace we can have is at least they haven't No Man's Skied it. That's all we can say. At least they haven't done a No Man's Sky. Like that's the only saving grace I can really give it at this point.
Yeah. All right, boys, we'll wrap it up there. I mean, I was going to mention the king is home, Ronaldo, but you're outnumbered, Wes, so I won't.
Hey, listen. I might be. Mate. I tell you what. Anytime I score on stream, Ronaldo, it gets a sue. It always does. But I, even as a neutral, was delighted.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Great for the Premier League.
It was kind of a win for football that Man City didn't get him, because myself and my pal Jay, we were in a party the night before all of that whole thing happened. And the whole night before it was, he's going to City, and we were in a chat and we were just like, yeah, this is weird. Like,
yeah, I don't think he was ever going to go to City, was he?
I don't think he's going. And I don't think he's going. And then he turned around and he was like, if United come in for him, he ain't going to City. And I went, yeah, but United keep saying they're not in for him. And then it started to it was the Ollie press conferences where it was, if you're a professional, you when you play for Man United, you don't go to City. I'm like, that's a dig at you, Ronaldo. That's one, right? Yep. And then it started to slide, and then
Rio Ferdinand.
The minute the press conference came out, where he was like, "Oh, you know what? He knows what we think about him, and if he ever wants to leave Juventus, he knows we're here." I was like, "Oh my god, that's it. It's on. It's absolutely on." And then it was very European Super League. It just kind of fell apart, like very
it was so cool,
stages.
Though. I loved it.
And yeah, I tell you something. The first time he scores at Old Trafford, which will happen, the place is just going to go bananas.
Against Villa.
Be a full house. It's
going to be bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't do it against us, and we'll be fine. Like,
they got Newcastle September 11th, so that's going to be the.
Oh.
Yeah, he'll definitely be playing.
That'll be his first game. Will he play him?
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like
plays him right wing. Plays him right wing back. There we go.
I watched the Wolves game, and United were terrible. They really were. Absolutely. Credit to Wolves, they were high pressing, but Fred can't control anything. But then Solskjaer at the end of the game, he said that they had the same amount of shots. And I was like, what game are you watching? So, like, seriously, his managerial skills sometimes are so questionable. But somehow we haven't lost an away game in like 30 games. So I don't know how. But
what I would say is, because I saw a lot of chatter whenever and it's only ever with Man United, it's not with any other team that I see this on social media. Whenever that starting lineup comes out for United, all of a sudden it's trending. It's why is he playing Fred McTominay? Why is he playing Mata? Why is he playing Matic? Why is he doing all this? And I'm like, at the end of the day, it's the same way that we saw in the World Cup, the Euros with Southgate was that everybody would come out and bellyache about the lineup, but the minute the game's over with and you've won, nobody cares.
No one cares.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. When you're winning, you can't say anything to anybody.
As soon as that Greenwood goal went in, I went, thank God. From a neutral, I was like, thank God. I was like, I don't have to read Ollie out. I don't have to read Man United fans getting overly jumpy. I can just go, okay, my two United pals who I play FIFA with, I can have a peaceful conversation with them. I don't have to listen to, I'm sick of Fred, I'm sick of McTominay.
Sick of this, sick of that, yeah.
Poor old Fred. I love Fred. He's a trier, like.
Yeah, I mean, God,
technically he's shocking, though.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, Dan James is gone, isn't he?
Yeah, 30 million for him.
Yeah, that's going to be the great number switcheroo, because Cavani will take 21, Ronaldo will take 7, and everyone will have what they want.
Exactly. That's the way it works, man. They sold Dan James just for his jersey, really.
That's literally it. They've literally gone, do you know what? Cavani wants your number, get out.
Yeah, sling it. Yeah.
Look, I just hope he comes back and just like, I don't think they'll win the league this year, but like if he came back and just had
they still need a few more. Yeah,
if they got a DMF, I'd fancy.
If they won the league with Ronaldo, no one in their right mind can debate the Ronaldo is not the greatest.
Oh no, he definitely.
I'm sorry, you can't. Man United have been dreadful, and
the thing is, you've got Messi who didn't, and again, this is the point again that people didn't really still take on. Messi didn't want to leave Barcelona. He wanted to stay there. He's only gone to PSG because they're the only club that can afford him. Otherwise, he'd be having a whole year out, or he would have to retire, or he'd have to go to America, which neither one of those things he wants to do. Right? Ronaldo's choice at his age has gone, actually, you know what? I've done a couple of years in Juve. I didn't deliver in the Champions League that I said I was going to do the impossible. We'll kind of forget that quote, and we'll go back to basically the homecoming, which is, again, he's not going to be the player he was when he left, but he's still Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still Ronaldo. That's it.
He's the man.
You know, it doesn't equate.
He still scored 29 goals.
Yeah,
you know,
he still outscored
season.
He
was the top scorer in Serie A, wasn't he?
Yeah, by 5
and in the Euros, wasn't he?
Yeah,
even in the Euros. So,
it's mad. And the guy's got the fitness of a 24-year-old. Like at 36, like he's footballing Benjamin Button. That's
he's nearly as fit as myself. Nearly as fit as myself.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're wearing.
I'm just fit to drop. That's all I am.
Is that the eFootball jersey? You got the yellow and blue one.
No, it's a local jersey. A local jersey, man. my local where I'm from. You know, represent.
Yeah.
But boys, we'll end it there because I have to go, and Ricky I know is going pumping some iron in the gym. So, we'll end it there. Good chat, boys.
Put the trailer on while I'm working out.
Yeah, I do. Work.
I mean that will certainly give you more.
It certainly would.
Yeah, definitely inspirational. But we'll end it there. I'll hopefully get this up. Maybe what day is it today? Tuesday, is it? Monday. Yeah. So tomorrow we'll throw it up. And if we've any other news, Ricky, appreciate you taking the time, man, because I know you're a few hours behind. Wes, as usual, rocking the new Pulse headphones. But
man, I thought I'd upgrade. I gave myself a little treat.
Oh, they're the PS5 ones?
Yeah, they're nice, aren't they?
Oh, okay.
Nice. They're pretty decent, yeah.
They're very nice.
Nice.
They're like the 3D audio kind of
very
thing.
Comfortable.
It's hard to find them. I couldn't find any of them. They ran out of stock.
Where did I get mine from? Oh yeah, I got mine from Argus, which obviously slightly big jaunt for you. That is, Ricky.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drive, that, isn't it?
Fly home. But anyway, we'll check us out on what's it called? SoundCloud? Yeah.
Everywhere.
SoundCloud,
check us
SoundCloud.
everywhere.
We're everywhere. So if you're watching the video, it's on YouTube. So we will talk to you later in the next episode. Hopefully we'll have some more news to discuss. Again, thanks to the two boys, and we will talk to you later.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.